Yeah. Well. Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
David Coleman.
Speaking.
I'm Mr. Coleman. Dr. Montgomery had referred you back to us to be seen by Dr. Corey.
Okay.
Follow up, and we were calling to get you scheduled for an appointment, sir.
Okay.
Hold on 1 second as I work on that.
Hey, can I call you back? I'm in the middle of a radio show. Can I call you back in about 2 hours?
Okay. Yes, sir, you can.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Bye-bye.
The views and opinions expressed today on Black Focus Radio are not the views and opinions of the station, its management, or its advertisers. Now, let's get ready to focus on our issues, our solutions, using our voices on Black Focus Radio.
Welcome to Black Focus, the show designed with our community in mind, where we focus on our issues, developing our solutions, using our voices. Central Arkansas, surrounding areas, and the nation. Get ready. Black Focus starts right now. Phone lines open at 855-525-5683. So here's your host, David W. Coleman and Robert Webb.
Hey, what's happening? How y'all doing? Welcome to Black Focus Radio, our issues, our solutions, our voices. 855-525-5683 is the number. That's how you get in touch with us. Robert Webb and David Coleman in the house. Robert is wandering around the building somewhere, so he'll be here in just a moment. Hope everybody had a good Tuesday. Got a lot of things to talk about today. Of course, the Charles Starks hearing is going on as we speak today. It is happening. We'll find out whether or not Charles Starks, the murderer of Bradley Blackshire, gets his job back. I'll give you my insight on that here in just a moment. Also, 56% of Americans think racism is worse. Really? I'm going to dig inside those numbers and tell you why it is worse, but it's not what you think. Okay? Because it really is pretty bad. Okay? Also, we're going to do a audio black fact today, and I thought it was a unique story. And I posted this to my wall, and it's the story about the descendants of America's first African family. And I thought it was pretty neat. Now, you have to understand that Africans were already here in the Americas. They were Native Americans. Some of you all call them Indians, which is politically incorrect. But they were Native Americans. If you know geology, you know that there were only 4 continents at one point. And they were all connected to Africa, by the way. So, those people migrated here long before long before there was ships coming to America. If you go back and look at some of the pictures of Cherokees, and I'm telling you, a good friend of mine, Art Burton, who does a lot of work in that area, he posts a lot of different pictures. If you go back and look at some of those pictures of some of those early Native Americans, if they ain't black, I don't know who the hell is. Also, I need you to make sure that you like this page. I just sent out a whole lot of likes for Black Focus Radio, the page. And we are migrating all of my live stuff as it relates to Black Focus Radio to the Black Focus page. So you can now get all of that stuff, those feeds on that page. So make sure you like it. Also, make sure you take a moment to go out to the YouTube channel, Black Focus Radio. And there's a link posted on Black Focus Radio page, on the Black Focus Radio page, where you can go ahead and check out that link. Okay? So if you all will do that for me, that's cool. So we've got an audio, and it's a long one, okay? It's about 7 minutes. But I thought it was just unique to get some insight from the descendants of the first African family that came to America. It's CBS. They're doing the series, 400 years since 1619, and they're doing some great stuff as it relates to African history. So that's where this piece comes from. By the way, hey Robert, how you doing, man?
What up, Super Daddy?
We're also gonna jump into the mayor of Chicago. She just slaps Ted Cruz. She just slaps him. Okay? So we'll talk about that as well. So we are expecting a call from the hearing once we get some information. So Roselle Aaron is in the house. So once if it happens before the show is over with, we'll certainly get that information out to you. But let's go ahead and jump into this black fact. I think you're gonna like this, okay?
Dynamic Black Facts. Our culture, our history, our people.
Gather in Hampton, Virginia to commemorate a pivotal moment in American history. This month marks 400 years since the first documented enslaved Africans arrived in English North America. The weekend events kick off at the Tucker Family Cemetery, believed to be the burial place of some of the descendants of the first enslaved Africans to come here. CBS This Morning national correspondent Jerika Duncan visited that cemetery and the Tucker family. Jerika, how unique is their story?
Very unique, Anthony. It is rare for African American families in this country to be able to trace their lineage back to 1619. Well, the Tucker family believes it has. Its family cemetery is ground zero for where life ended, but as we learned, it is also where the story begins.
Tucked beneath the trees in a quiet neighborhood in Hampton, Virginia, is a piece of American history that is rarely seen or told like this.
So we had a ground penetrating radar done, and it went down 6 feet.
And what did you find?
We found over 104 unmarked graves.
Those unmarked graves, according to the Tucker family, are likely the remains of their relatives, who were among the first enslaved Africans to arrive in English North America in 1619. Colonist John Rolfe famously reported the arrival of 20 and odd Negroes who were captured from Angola, Africa, and brought to the shores of the old Port Comfort, Virginia.
Most of it is oral history that takes us back that far.
Carolita Jones Pope says that history connects their family to Captain William Tucker, whose plantation was a quarter-mile from where the Tucker family cemetery lies today.
Captain William Tucker is the commander of Point Comfort, and he kept 2 of those servants, Anthony and Isabel. In 1624, it lists that Anthony and Isabella had a child, William, and that he was born and baptized. That was the start of our family and legacy here in Virginia.
When you look at this history that your family has been able to preserve, what is the significance of
knowing where you came from, and having the pictures, having the genealogy.
Well, one thing, nice looking family.
Not bad, not bad.
Not bad, not bad. And to look at the way they dress, they walk with their heads up, pride, dignity.
They were smart people. They were
Sharonda Love.
hard-working.
What time she's coming in?
That just gives me so much
Whenever you ready.
pride.
Okay.
She's director of Arkansas Minority.
Have her to come in about
Uncovering
5
the
minutes.
past has never lied
We'll take her
to
right
this
after
family.
Black Facts.
Why did the connections matter? What does it give you a sense of knowing where you came from?
To now know that my African ancestry started so long ago and they survived, like they struggled, and I can't imagine the conditions that they lived in when they were here. But to know that we are still here and surviving just makes me so proud.
Because now we are trying to tell our children this story, and we want each generation to keep this story going. So this is what we're doing with these pictures, because this is our family.
We face many challenges as people of color, African Americans. So it helps strengthen the next generation moving forward, to know what our ancestors have gone through and did.
This family says tracing their roots is not just a history lesson for themselves, but a cultural lesson that will resonate worldwide. When you look at some of the debates that are happening in this country today around race relations, immigrants, how does this play into that bigger narrative?
I'm sorry, it's been called. The condition of living in the man, that is still trying to justify our existence. Because we built this country.
The Tucker family will be featured in a new exhibit honoring the first Africans landing at Point Comfort. The site was later renamed Fort Monroe. So there are over 100 crosses here at the cemetery.
Yes, which represents unmarked graves that we were able to identify through the ground penetrating radar.
So you had someone come here to find potential bodies that you didn't know were here.
Exactly. When I started off, I was just a young man who was looking at this space as a very special space, and I just didn't think the nation would pay attention.
Terry Brown is superintendent of Fort Monroe. Why do you think it's finally getting attention?
Well, I think slavery and race is a very difficult subject for this nation. But I want to remind the entire nation that a great country remembers its history, and it embraces all the complexities of it.
What do you think that does for the young people there when they know their history and their power?
There's nothing like knowing where you came from. There's nothing like it. And for many African Americans, it's very hard to go beyond, the civil rights movement. It's a very sad story in a lot of ways. But I'm here to tell everyone that those Africans that unloaded here in 1619, they were scientists, they were lawyers, doctors. They were not just simply slaves, they were human beings.
For the Tucker family, connecting back to where they came from means embracing where they are today.
We are not going anywhere. We are here.
How you doing?
Because our people help to make
Oh, she's just taking pictures of us? Oh, okay.
Big gun.
Oh, okay. Well, we feel important. We like the big gun. We had the police chief on yesterday, so let's see if she can top that.
400 years of African American history have been embraced by both the Obama and Trump administrations. President Obama named Fort Monroe a national monument in 2011, recognizing this landmark moment in American history. And last year, President Trump signed a law establishing a 15-member commission to plan, develop, and carry out programs highlighting the contributions of African Americans in this country.
Keep listening to Black Focus Radio for more dynamic Black facts, our culture, our history, our people on JoyNetRadio.com.
And if you would like to sponsor Dynamic Black Facts, give me a call at 615-554-0568. Neat story.
It is, man.
I mean, to be able to actually go back and trace your descendants, the first Africans to come to America, man, that's pretty wild. It is. And, you know, something that stood out to me was what they said about you don't understand what we went through. A lot of people don't get it. I mean, that story that we had about Natalie Wood to where she was the first African American to sue for reparations in 1858.
Yeah, that's interesting.
You know, all of this stuff is coming out now.
What was more surprising to me, though? It was more surprising
that she won?
No, what they said about Trump.
Oh,
more surprising
about him signing the Declaration.
Yeah, signing the Declaration.
Yeah, me too.
Surprising.
So you just never know. But I just thought a great black fact. I never knew, and that's one of the reasons I love doing black facts. The first African family. Can you imagine that? 400 years ago, this month, as they could trace their family all the way back to the first African family.
Yeah.
Man, that's hot cotton right there. No pun intended. Stop laughing, Robert. You know?
You got issues, bro. You got issues with that one.
All right, welcome back to the show. Of course, by the way, we want to thank Chief Humphrey for coming in yesterday. Good interview. Really, really enjoyed it an awful lot.
We'll get to where I'm at after this.
And yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about the interview later on in the show as well. But right now, we've got a guest in studio, Miss Sharonda Love. You need to talk right into that mic for me. Miss Love, you all are having a health fair, a community health screening, I guess you all can call it.
Yes,
What's
sir.
the difference between, well, first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm Sharonda Love, Director for the Arkansas Minority Health Commission. Arkansas Minority Health is a state agency that focuses on health disparities for all minorities. We do that by providing access to free preventive screenings and health education in an effort to help individuals become aware, know what their numbers are, and if they have abnormal numbers, we help them find the resources to get into a doctor to get treatment for chronic disease. But if they find out that their numbers are good, we encourage them to continue to do what they're doing to stay healthy.
Now, let's see, your Fred?
Yeah,
yeah,
that's my husband.
Okay, Representative Love. Let me ask you a quick question. A very dear friend of mine in Nashville, I lived in Nashville for quite a bit of time, is Harold Love. And he's a state representative for Tennessee.
Oh, okay.
Any
I hate to say no, but I know that my husband's family is from like the Newport area here in Arkansas.
Okay.
But as far as Nashville, I'm not sure.
Okay.
So
Yeah, as a matter of fact,
possibility.
his father was a state representative, and he took up the reins after his father passed away. They have a little saying, keep love in the house. But anyway, I digress.
Our saying is all you need is love.
There you go. There you go. Let's talk a little bit about what you guys are doing here today. What's the difference between a health screening, a screening and a health fair?
Well,
Was that just a change of vernacular?
I think that the difference is, so usually with health fairs, there are a lot of different vendors that come together to provide different services and resources. And today it's just a screening day being offered by the Arkansas Minority Health Commission. It's providing us an opportunity to literally meet our community where they are. So individuals here in the surrounding area can come in and have free screenings completed, like their blood pressure, cholesterol, glucose, things like that. So it's just an opportunity for us to reach the community.
What are some of the screenings you're doing today?
Like I just listed, blood pressure,
I wasn't paying attention, I'm sorry.
Glucose, HIV, oral health, blood pressure is 5. What am I missing? Blood pressure, glucose, cholesterol, BMI, weight.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why are you looking at me?
I was just
My BMI is 100.
I didn't say that the right way.
My BMI is 100.
I hit dog a mark now. I was just saying.
So they told me to tell Miss Love, your Jack and Jill moms are listening.
Oh, okay, go Jack and Jill, GLRC.
I didn't know we had Jack and Jill moms listening.
Wow.
We had hot cotton. No pun intended.
Will you Stop it.
I'm sorry, I apologize.
This is Robert Webb, my co-host. Do y'all know each other? Have y'all met?
I've met her, but I don't know her. No, I know her husband Fred better.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the popular one.
Okay. Well, how long have you been over the Minority Health Coalition here in Little Rock? Did I say that right?
Mm-hmm.
Arkansas Minority Health Coalition. Yeah.
Commission.
Okay.
I've been with the commission for almost 3 years now. I was appointed by the governor in 2016.
You, what made you get into health?
So, I have actually been in health education since undergraduate. When I was 19 and in college, my dad was diagnosed with cancer. And we ended up going to the doctors. We were very poor, didn't have access to insurance, didn't see the doctor regularly, and so we worked with a health educator that helped us to figure out, what we needed to do to take care of him. When he had his surgeries, the things that we would need to get for him to be able to, function. And so I was still trying to decide what my major was going to be in college, and I thought,
typical lost freshman, right?
Yeah,
what am I doing here?
And actually, I was almost a junior. I was getting ready to be a rising junior, and so it was like, this is what I want to do. I want to be able to help those families like someone helped us, to be able to find the resources that they need to be able to live a healthy life. And so that's how health education became my mission.
So you got your undergrad from
UALR.
Okay.
Born and raised here in Little Rock, so undergraduate UALR, graduate degree. High school, Hall Warriors. I'm sorry.
That's what I'm going.
No, I'm sorry. Everybody ain't able to be a Central Tiger, but I digress.
And we love Warriors.
Yeah, we like these. We like beating up on them. Look, he's even wearing Warrior orange. So.
Right.
So why are these health screenings important?
So screenings are important because it just gives us information. It helps you to know what your numbers are. You are able to know if you have abnormal numbers so that you can go to the doctor and get the right medication and treatment to get your numbers on a normal route. And then if your numbers are normal, that also provides information for you. It will let you know that what you're doing is currently good, and there are things that you probably should continue to do, or maybe even incorporate into your regular routine so that you can continue to be healthy.
One of the things, I won't say it bothers me, but it concerns me is when there are health screenings or health fairs, it seems that men are always left out of those. There seems to be a focus on breast cancer, which is great, but specific issues that men deal with on a regular basis, those things are few and far between. Why is that?
Well, and I hate that you feel that men are left out. We just had Men's Health Awareness Month in June, and we focused on a health topic for men daily. I was on Delta Force radio station to talk about.
So you weren't on Black Focus Radio. See?
And we are always promoting men's health, as well as encouraging not only men to get out and see the doctor, but we've got commercials on Power 92 and 102.3 that encourages everyone to take their loved ones to the doctor, but we especially had a men's health commercial that encouraged women to get the men in their lives to the doctor. And so I think you are correct. There are issues that are important for men's health, and those are ones that Minority Health Commission are definitely working to recognize.
Are you seeing changes? I know you guys put out a cookbook a while back. I have a copy of it, by the way. Are you seeing changes in attitude as it relates to health? Give you an example. So last week we talked about an article that was posted about how church contributes to obesity and diabetes in black communities. I don't know if you saw that article, but it made a lot of sense in that it was talking about how a lot of churches, you go to church, you eat at church, some of the things that are not, they're not healthy for you, you eat a lot of all these other things and so on and so forth. Are you seeing a change in attitude as it relates to health? Because I'm certainly seeing a lot more I don't see a lot of black men, but I see a lot of sisters out here walking now and running and doing all those things. In fact, I think a friend of mine, she's in a running club, and I'd have never viewed you running. So have you seen those changes?
I definitely think that people are starting to become more aware and wanting to take control of their health. The one thing that I like to encourage everybody to do is to challenge the norm. And so I tell the ham story. The young lady goes off to college, she comes back home, she's in the kitchen with mom making Thanksgiving dinner, and she watches mom cut the end of the ham off. And she says, Mom, why did you cut the end of the ham off? And mom says, it's because my mama did. So she says, calls up Grandma, Mom cuts the end of the ham off. She does it because she said you did it. Why do you cut the end of the ham off? And what do you think Grandma said?
Because my mama did.
That's what Mama did. Luckily, great-grandma was still alive, so she calls her up. She says, Nana, Mama cuts the end of the ham off because she said Grandma did it. Grandmama did it because you did it. Do you know why you cut the end of the ham off? And what do you think Nana said?
That's basically how she was taught.
Nope, Nana knew. Nana said, I cut the end of the ham off because I didn't have a pan big enough.
Oh, there you go.
And so I think in life, sometimes we start to do things just because it's what we've learned along the way and we never question the norm. And so it is time for us to start questioning the norm. If we are sitting home and we're never being physically active, we're not getting up and moving regularly, start asking, why is it that we're not doing that? Is it because that's what we saw Mama doing? And do we need to change that? If someone is smoking and they're smoking because they picked it up because somebody in their family has previously done it, is that benefiting my health now? Why am I still doing that? Why do I need to start questioning and changing the norm? And so we're definitely starting to see more people being physically active and changing how they eat their daily diets. And so we will be launching our new Southern Ain't Fried Sundays website or app very soon, the cookbook that you mentioned. And so in about 3 months or so, it should be finished, and hopefully that will be a avenue for individuals to then start to look at new recipes that are traditional Southern recipes, but encouraging us to not do what we normally do in the South, which is fry everything, but looking at different ways to reduce sodium and bake our food so that it can be healthy.
You know, these air fryers are pretty hot these days.
Yeah. So that's another thing.
But
that people
you know, as I was listening to you, and let me know when you got to go. So, but as I was listening, one thing occurred to me. I'm a little older than you, probably. Don't agree with that. Okay, but when I grew up, and I was thinking about this, and I think, I don't know if I was talking to some friends a few days ago, but we rarely had, there might have been 1 or 2 kids in class that were overweight, but we rarely had that.
Yeah.
This phenomenon to me, and look, my mom was a caterer. Now, my mom didn't cook soul food, but she didn't cook it for us, but she could cook it for her clients. But certainly my aunts did. My aunt just passed. She was 95 years old, you know. So we ate all of those things. I didn't eat chitlins. No, I need that. That was good. But we ate that kind of stuff, and we were relatively healthy. What's going on that all of a sudden people are getting cancer and all of these things that wasn't happening back in the 70s when I grew up?
Well, and so I grew up in the 70s too, and
oh, you
the
did?
difference is we
When did you graduate from home?
Now you're trying to get my but we cooked then. We didn't eat out as much.
Right.
And if you think back, the Happy Meal when it first came out, what is the Happy Meal now was the regular size burger.
Right.
Back then. And so everything is now upsized and biggie sized and triple sized, and we didn't do that back then.
Right.
We cooked at home. We ate 3 meals a day that were cooked from home.
Yeah, McDonald's was a
And
luxury back in the day.
Yeah. You didn't eat out regularly, and if you did, it was a treat. And then also when families sat down and ate together, there were vegetables on the plate, and meat sometimes was a rarity. So we
you gonna
ate,
eat that broccoli?
Yeah. We ate a lot of fiber, and the way we cooked was just completely different. So I think there has been a change and a shift. Also, back then, you played outside until those street lights came on, and you knew you had to make it back home by then, but there was regular activity. And that's something that our kids might not necessarily be seeing these days. They are, regularly in front of the TV and doing the handheld games, and they're not outside playing until the street lights come on. And so the shift in the times and the shift in our behaviors has also shifted in our waistlines, unfortunately.
Well, it's been interesting as you see the evolution of health, but I'm glad to see people are focusing on that. The reason I guess I called you on the coalition because I was part of the Tennessee Minority Health Coalition at one point, and we were doing a lot of great work in Tennessee as well. So you all keep up the good work. Hey, I'm glad you were able to stop by. And by the way, if you guys are out listening and you've been thinking, hey, I need to get, I've been having headaches. I need to get my pressure taken. It's no cost to come. You all are here until?
We're here until 2 today, so stop by 1501 South Main, park in the gated lot, and just come right in the doors, and we'll take care of you.
Now, I like to tell people that if you go to the Walgreens on Main Street and look for the drive-in window, the parking lot across the street from the drive-in window is what she's talking about. So, guys, if you're in the area, come on down. Don't be afraid. When was the last time you had a health screening, Rob?
Man, just yesterday, as a matter of fact. So I'm good on mine so far.
Okay, because I was going to say we'll get you guys right on out there.
You sure? You got everything? Everything good?
Everything good, man.
Okay.
I'm 1,000. I got a couple quick texts, and I'm sorry I came back so late. One was, are you gonna have another screening somewhere else, and if so, when?
Yeah, so we're gonna start doing this monthly. So if you can't make it by today, we will have another one next month, and we will advertise that one also. So you can follow our Facebook, Twitter, social media, Arkansas Minority Health Commission. You can also log on to our website at arminorityhealth.com, and all of our activities are listed on our events page.
And will it be at the same place, or will you move around?
No, our community health days will be here at our office.
Okay.
What is the reason for just having it here at the office? Is it just to get people to come in and meet the staff and so on and so forth?
Yeah, and so we have a new mobile health unit. And so our goal of the mobile health unit was to drive into communities in need, providing free preventive screenings to the people where they are. But we also wanted to make sure that we had our doors open so that our own community would be able to come in and get those same screens.
So if someone wanted the mobile health unit to come, how would they get that information?
So they can call us at 501-686-2720, or they can log on to our website at arminorityhealth.com, and there's a schedule the mobile health unit right on the homepage.
And is there a cost or anything like that?
It's free of charge. Now, I will say that we are scheduling about 4 months in advance. So if you're having an activity and you want to get us scheduled, we're already looking into November at this time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Ms. Love, we appreciate you coming in. And anything else you need to add? I mean, you need to get Robert out there and screen him again.
No, we just appreciate the opportunity to come in, and we look forward to seeing some folks come in, if not today, next month.
Okay. And keep us posted on next month so we can get the word out a little earlier so they'll know.
Will do. Thanks so much.
All right. Thanks for coming in.
All right. Tell Fred I said what's up.
Will do.
All right, so that's pretty cool to be having that here in the neighborhood. So if you're having some issues, or you think you're having some issues, yeah, you can get taken care of. So that'd be pretty cool. 855-525-5683 is a number. We're going to go out and take a quick break. I will tell you that we are no activity. Don't know what that means, LaTanya. Expound, if you don't mind. We're going to take a quick break. We are expecting Roselle Aaron if the hearing ends before the show, to get an update about about the hearing and what's going on. So we'll keep you posted on that.
And then we get to talk a little bit about Chief.
And we're gonna talk a little bit about the chief. I like the chief.
I thought he was cool.
Yeah,
I
he's
just
pretty
want
cool.
to see what the brother do. Rizal kind of went in there kind of hard. I like Chief, man. Chief said, I ain't no punk up in here, man.
Yeah.
You ain't just finna be trying to push me around. You know I carry a gun, right?
He done slap you.
Man, you better check yourself, man, before you wreck yourself.
So we'll be back in a moment. You're listening to Black Focus Radio, our issues, our solutions, our voices on JoyNetRadio.com.
Hello to quality talent at Marco. Hello to being a game changer and original. And to those who make it authentic, we say hello with the Founder Select Pizza, Old World Pepperoni, sliced Italian sausage,
Yeah, people enjoyed that interview
totally
yesterday.
fresh every day, and a sauce with the original G-Marco recipe. Hello to an Old World original. Every store, every day, the Italian way. Hello, Primo.
Serving the families of Clark County and the surrounding area since 1966, it's Mitchell Funeral Home. Understanding that a funeral is a celebration of life, the entire staff of Mitchell Funeral Home takes great pride in the caring, personal, and professional service they offer. Cremations, funeral plannings, burial policies, life insurance.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right.
Are a few of the services we offer.
Hey, but Tanya, you getting your kids plenty of activity, aren't you? Good for you. Yeah, man, these kids. I was out there. I went over to Central yesterday watching their practice. Man, them kids getting water. They get to stand under a tent. Just when I was watching the practice. No, it's crazy. But
These be in a hot ass gym all day long. All we had was the warm ass water fountain.
You couldn't take a knee, and we had. And Central has them black helmets.
Yeah.
Man, you had to have them helmets on. As long as you in practice, you don't take that helmet off. It was like your head was in an oven.
Yeah.
And they get water. And then there was some kids out practicing track. And the way the sun was, it was casting a shadow from the scoreboard. There were kids sitting in the shadow from the scoreboard. I'm saying to myself, boy, if that was Coach Horton, that would not be happening.
Man, that is crazy.
Well, what you doing? Get your...
That's crazy.
But yeah, that's part of the problem that they're, I hate to say it, soft.
Man, hey, we practice all day, damn near all day in the heat.
And dude, we had to go in and it wasn't no such thing if it was raining. When I was running track.
If it wasn't lightning, bro, it's on and
right.
popping.
No, you went to school running the stairs.
Yeah,
you running the stairs. That's crazy. I was like, boy, wow. How things, and you know what? Nobody passed out. Nobody got overheated. None of that stuff. And then most of us went home and didn't have air conditioning. We went home to box fans. That's crazy, man.
Laid your ass on the bed.
That's what I'm saying. That's crazy.
Man, this is crazy. Was Shannon call you?
Huh?
Was Shannon call you?
Not yet. No.
Okay. Because she called me earlier and I sent her a text and told her to call you because I was in a meeting. So she probably gonna wait for me.
All right, welcome back to the show. We appreciate Miss Love coming in. They'll do this monthly. And I think it's pretty cool to have it here. A stationary place, if you're going to do it every month. Because even though you may not live in the neighborhood, you might say, well, I know they're having a health screening next month. I can go. You know what I'm saying? So I know it's going to be there at the Office of the Minority Health Coalition. So cool for that. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about this hour. Just quickly, there was a survey that was released, and it said that 56% of Americans think racism has gotten worse. And I kind of chuckled at that because it really hasn't gotten worse.
It's the same as it's always been.
Uh-oh, I had to run my... Go ahead.
Same as it's always been.
That's my point. It's always been bad for black folks. So I wonder who took the survey, number one.
They must have asked LBGT community.
Yeah. Anyway, don't I see you trying to start stuff.
I'm not starting anything. That was legitimate. That was legit.
But here's the point: is that I think whomever they surveyed, it's gotten worse because it's more pronounced. You know, people now are literally wearing it on their sleeves as a badge of honor.
I think, honestly, we make that assumption, but it's not true. And the reason I say it's not true is that before social media, we didn't have instant access to all the shenanigans all over the world, right? I mean, all over the United States. We were just to some degree, we were limited to whatever happened locally, right? We couldn't see it overall. And for me, the racism is consistent and to some degree deliberate. I mean, if you look at minority communities, I mean, excellent example of racism. I mean, it's an excellent example. Mm-hmm. It's an excellent example. I disagree with that. I don't think it's worse than it was. I mean, it's the same as it's always been. Again, I mean, you got to think about it. So black males have been getting killed by the police since the 50s, since the 30s, since the 18s, since the 17s. That is nothing new. Mm-hmm. What's disappointing is how are we in the 21st century and it's still happening. Right. That's the concern. Not only that, I mean, Rizel asked the chief some great questions yesterday. And one of those questions was, well, not one of those questions, but in defense of one of those questions, there are issues that plague the black community. But unfortunately, we never have a conversation around those issues. Nobody's ever willing to stand up and say why we're having those issues. And that's always been problematic because if we don't
that's
talk
racism
about
in itself.
Yeah, if we're not willing to have conversations about the things that are being done to us with people who are in positions to do something about it, then it never changes.
Well, you kind of segued into why I'm bringing this up. And by the way, let me just give you the full poll. It says race relations since President Trump took office has gotten worse, stayed about the same, or improved. Now, 56% of the people who were surveyed said it's gotten worse. 33% say it's stayed the same. And 10%, I wonder who this 10% is, says it has improved. So you're delusional, but you segued into, because I think the fact that even if you're right, because of social media, we have instant access. Right. So it has, again, it's really what I just said was, you're getting more of it. Yeah. So you're seeing more of it, but it's always been here. Right. You see, but I think if America has a conscience, and we're about to see, I think there are two issues now that is going to determine what conscience America really has. One is the gun debate, and one is race relations. And if it has a conscience, then we'll by talking about it, because, you know, when we listen to, what was the tape we listened to the other day where it was the professor from Georgetown, Paul Butler, when he talked about when he went and ate lunch in Israel with a rabbi and a religious, a imam, and how they went at each other about, you know, their differences. And because they talk to each other, then you can begin to at least pound out some things you agree upon. The problem is in America has never, ever really addressed this at all. And now it's being forced upon them, and they're scared to death of it.
Well, I want to read you something. I want to read you something from the city board, right? Mm-hmm. Classic example of racism. Mm-hmm. And let me tell you why I say this. So, any other time, the budget, the board doesn't see the budget. Mm-hmm. The board doesn't look through the budget. The board don't even get damn about the budget. Boy, because you know why the board don't do that?
Because they don't care about the budget.
So I'm not gonna say they don't care, but they know that everything gonna be done the way.
Well, most of their cronies are gonna get what they want.
I want to read you an email that Lance Hines sent to the mayor. You ready?
Now, Lance Hines is who?
He's a city director from Ward 5.
Okay.
He said, Mayor Scott, I would have you note that this May 31, 2019 financial report was, by ordinance mandate, required to be submitted to the board on or before June 30th, 2019 at the very latest. It is a mystery that your administration refuses to comply with a policy directive of the city board codified as an ordinance of this city. How can I and other directors properly oversee the city's financial condition if your administration isn't properly providing us with accurate and timely financial information? No private company could conduct its business in this fashion. Moreover, Sarah was required to give the board written notice before the 21st of June, 2019, that she could not timely submit the report by the 29th of June, 2019, and state what circumstances beyond the city's control prevent the timely delivery. Even in such an event, the report must nevertheless be delivered to us within 30 calendars after the 29th of June, 2019, or July 29th, 2019 at the very latest. We were told that as soon as the 2018 audit was finished, we would be up to date on our current financials. I look forward to hearing when we will receive June 2019 and July 2019 reports. I am not comfortable holding any 2020 budget discussions until our current financials are up to date and published per ordinance. Now, this is why this is really interesting. You ready?
He sounds like a Republican, but go ahead.
Well,
I'll tell you why I said
I won't
this,
say
but
this,
go
but
ahead.
I will say this. So when they had the Occupy people over in the parking lot, by the post office on Capitol, it was Lance Hines who said he wanted them to be removed. Now, the board often, very often, have discussions about stuff that they ain't never seen. I mean, somebody could walk in there if they got a board meeting tomorrow, somebody can walk in tomorrow if it's the right person, introduce an ordinance, sight unseen, they vote on it, everybody go home, and there's no discussion. But now, all of a sudden, you can't have a discussion about the 2020 budget. Well, why not?
Because you got a black bear.
You think that's what it is?
We'll almost say it's
I don't think that's what it is.
There's a pig. Anyway.
I don't think that's what it is, Dave.
What do you think it is, Robert?
I don't know, Dave, but I don't think that's what it is.
So you do something different than you've been doing for years, and the only change has been you got a black mayor. What do you think it is?
I don't know, Dave. Maybe right now they just want to be better stewards of the city's money now. Maybe now they
Really?
want to be better stewards.
Because you got a black mayor.
No, Dave, I'm saying now they just want to be better stewards.
It's kind of like you kill a school board because you have a majority of black people on the school board. There's a pattern here. I'm seeing a pattern.
Dave, just so you know, the city board never got involved in that discussion. Actually,
I'm sure they did.
At the time, the mayor of Little Rock, who was Mark Stoll at the time, said that was a great idea, and he thought that they should have taken the district over. So, and the city board never put forth any ordinance, never did anything. They just kind of sat on their hands on that one. So
Yeah, because the mayor.
I'm not sure that what you're saying has any merit.
Okay. I got a dump truck out back. It's going for a good price. Good price.
So don't you think it's fair that maybe they just talked about they just want to have?
No.
Because we're talking about racism, and this could not be a sign of racism. This could just be something that happened.
Okay, let me give you a little prima facie evidence out of Robert Webb's mouth.
Okay.
This city board, this board right here. Did that sound like Robert? Ain't never passed any measure, any ordinance that was put forth by Director Richardson and Director Hendricks. Well, maybe there was one, but that's about it.
Yeah. Oh, you talking about the symbolic one that had no teeth?
Yeah.
Yeah. The
There you go.
resolution that said they would have a moratorium on foreclosures in the city.
So when you think that, okay, if you're a board and you're trying to work with all of the community, that you would find something that the black board members can get past, and at least you at-large people would get on board?
Well, so if you talk about the unemployment numbers in the black community, You would think that would be one of the things that they would try to get on board about, right? But they shot that ordinance down too. They shot down the residency ordinance, and Director Hendricks, even after the sales tax, she said, "Hey, how about letting the first 100 jobs go to Little Rock residents?" They also shot that down. So, Dave, I think I'm here making your point.
Yes, you are, sir. Thank you very much.
Let me go back though.
No, you can't go back.
I gotta go back. I gotta go back. Let me clean that up. No. Let me clean that up. Let me clean that up. So this is the thing. So I remember specifically, Director Adcock. She said that she went out and got people from the construction from the construction division. Keith Wingfield, Wingfoot, whatever his name is. I can't remember Keith's name now. She went out and she contacted people.
Was he white?
Yeah, Keith was white, but he's over the Contractors Association. I think he's a president of the Contractors Association. I can't remember now what he is exactly. But she got him to come down to the board meeting to say that they were against the ordinance. And that was the ordinance for Director Richardson when he was trying to get bid preference for people who hired people from the community. They would get bid preference if they were willing to hire people from the community to work on these construction projects that were about to come up. And unfortunately, Director Hendricks shot that down.
You mean Director Adcock?
I mean Director Adcock shot that down.
Why would, anyway, I know why they do it.
It's kind of interesting that you want to spend more money for police officers, but you don't want to put some kind of incentive in place to hire disconnected youth and adults. It just baffles me. But
they're not concerned about disconnected youth and adults because that's usually black youth and adults.
Yeah, and then Dean Compeers did something I thought was really tasteless. He said, he kind of, it was almost as though he was patting Director Richardson on the head saying, "I'm going to get with Ken and we're going to work on this. And we'll bring it back," but it never came back. But those things are not absolutely racist. It could just be that these guys, you think it's nefarious. I don't think so. I don't think so.
Nope.
I don't think so, Dave.
When you have a director who, and I'm paraphrasing, says when there is a movement to remove an ordinance off the books that talks about Little Rock Central and the racism that was going on in 1957, and that director has the unmitigated gall to open her trap and say, well, we don't know what those people were thinking. I'm paraphrasing, but I can look at those pictures and I know exactly what those people were thinking.
Dave, I don't think that's fair. Dave, I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's fair, Dave.
Why not?
Because she not only said that she didn't want to, she didn't know what those people were thinking, but she didn't want to overturn the vote of the board, just because. Because, in 1957, she was at Central.
Exactly.
So, but Dave,
I wonder has anyone did any.
That does not mean that she's.
You
racist,
think she's in any of those pictures?
That doesn't mean she's a racist. Dave.
Has anyone looked at those pictures?
Someone said that she is one of the ladies in the picture throwing rocks at the black lady who was walking into the school.
Are you serious?
I don't know that to be true. I do not know that to be true.
Oh, we need to get somebody. I'm serious.
I heard that. I don't know it to be true though. I don't know it to be true. But you got to remember, this is the same lady. This is the same lady when CNN came for the 30-year reunion, I think it was. No, was the 40-year reunion? 40-year reunion. When they came for the 40-year reunion, she had the city to paint the front of all the houses on Park Street directly across from Central. Right? Because the 10-year reunion before, CNN woed them out about how horrible the neighborhood around Central was. So Joan Adcock ordered them. She ordered them to paint the front of all the houses directly across the street from Little Rock Central. And the reason she wanted that done was because this was the post she had in the New York Times, because you want to make it look good when company comes. They didn't paint the side of the houses. They didn't paint nothing else. They just paint the front. Just paint the front, and that was it. But she said you just want to make it look good when company comes to town.
So has there been any capital improvement in that area?
Oh yeah. After CNN came, you saw a rebirth to the Central neighborhood. Yeah, you saw a rebirth around there.
Well,
and even more interesting is that Dave, you know that when we were going to school, everybody who lived in or around Central went to Central.
Right.
If you live in or around Central now, you go to Hall. So if you live in West Little Rock, you go to Central. If you live right next door to Central, you go to Hall. Well, I take that back. So if you stay on the other side of 12th Street, if you stay on the north side of 12th, or if you stay on the, the south side of Wright Avenue, you go to Hall. You don't go to Central. So you don't walk to school anymore. You catch the bus to school. So if you live in Southwest Little Rock, if you live in West Little Rock, your school is Central. If you live in the Heights, your school is Central. If you live anywhere in West Little Rock, your district is a central. You're zoned for the Central District.
That's mind-boggling.
Yeah, that's the way they do the lines. And I'm not saying that was racist. Maybe that was done for a reason because they were trying to have some racial diversity. I don't know, Dave. Maybe because, you just wanted to have some racial diversity.
I'm so glad that you have an understanding mind.
No, Dave, that is legit, Dave. Now, Dave, see, you want to try to make everything be about race. I'm just not that guy. I'm just not that guy because...
Can I get a 20?
Please, yes.
What was our black fact today?
Our black fact was about our people who were slaves. The first family, the first family of slaves.
The first family of slaves, right?
Yeah.
That was brought to America.
Brought to America, yeah.
Okay. Did that answer your comment?
No, because that was not racism. They brought
they
from everything I've read about racism, about slavery, they brought us here for a better life.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And some people have misconstrued that to be slavery.
So, okay, let's say they didn't bring us here.
We had a black president.
They kidnapped us.
We had a black president.
Yeah, that's good.
We had a black president. Barack Hussein Obama.
So, I don't know what neighborhood you live in, but you know that black neighborhoods pay more for insurance, right?
I do.
You know that black neighborhoods pay more for stuff like interest and mortgages and things of that nature, right?
I do. I know that they also value our houses less than they value other houses.
Yeah.
I know all this.
Right.
Things.
You know.
Are you saying that's racism?
You know.
Dave, are you saying that's
let me
racism?
just say this again, and I keep saying this because you all don't understand. Racism is a social construct. Okay, which means that it's in the fibers of everything that is in America. Everything in America is about race, and it is condescending and disrespectful for you, Mr. Webb, to be sitting over there suggesting that it isn't, because it is. Even the most busiest day, the most holy day in America, on Sunday mornings, white people worship with white people, black people worship with black people. Racism is in every fiber of this country. And don't you forget it.
Mr. Coleman, I have to disagree with you. Sunday is not the most segregated day. Mm-hmm. If you take a look at where black people live versus white people in Little Rock, we're already segregated.
Right.
We have never been out of segregation.
Mm-hmm.
We're segregated. You got a black enclave in one spot, and you got a white enclave north of 630. So blacks are already segregated. Mm-hmm. I don't understand how you say that Sunday is the most segregated day in America. Every day in Little Rock is a segregated day. I mean, think about it. If I go to Murray Park, more than likely, if I stay there too long, I'm going to get arrested. I'm going to get arrested for being in Murray Park.
You can call the chief now.
Well, I don't think he'd help me with that one. I think we'd have some problems.
Yo, bro, what's up, man? Come on, help a brother out.
I think we'd have some problems. But I mean, even Dave, I just can't buy that. That it's racist, Dave. It's tough for me to. Okay. It's tough for me to bite on that one because I believe Lance to be a good guy who wants to see the city prosper.
Who?
Lance Hines, the city director from Ward 5. And Joan Act.
Can you go back in the recesses of your mind? I know it's way on back there somewhere.
Okay.
And tell me what ordinance has land supported that benefited people south of 630?
Ordinance that benefited folks south of 630. He hasn't that I know of. But I will say this though, in Lance's defense, There were a couple of people who were.
No, wait, what was your answer again? I didn't get that part.
He hadn't, to my knowledge.
He hadn't supported, to your knowledge, Lance Hines, city director, hasn't supported any ordinance that would benefit people south of 630.
No.
Is that what I understand?
Yes. And he's also a Central High Tiger.
Okay. All right. I'm sad. All of us ain't great.
Now, I will admit, a couple of times there were some people who were before the city board, and their houses were up for demolition, and Lance worked with them to keep their houses from being destroyed.
How many jobs did that supply south of 630?
None.
Okay.
Dave, I mean, the guy tried, Dave. I mean, I just want to say, Dave, you sure it's racism? Are you sure?
You know what? When black people would get accused of false
But
crimes.
let me ask you this, Dave.
Let me finish my point.
Okay.
When black people get accused of false crimes, you know, the sheriff tried to keep the mob from coming in and kidnapping them too, right?
Right.
That'll hit you in just a moment.
Well, let me say this, Dave. During a couple of years ago, when we had the conversation about crime in our city, Lance made a comment that it was getting too close. Before that happened, we had a ton of homicides south of 630, but we had one on University, and Lance said they're getting too close. Now, the reason I brought that up to you is because I wanted to try to share with you that Lance is concerned about homicides. He's concerned about homicides in south of 630 because he made that comment. And also in this email, I want to make sure I reference this email, and I want to make sure I reference his response. After he sent the email, Lance said, somebody commented back to him, and Lance said, thank you for sharing. Oh, Director Richardson did this to Lance. He said, Lance, thanks for sharing and look forward to ongoing discussions. By the way, we suffered another homicide last night on Arch Street after experiencing 3 last week in Solidarity, Keene, right? And if you look, Lance is yet to respond. But maybe he will.
Okay.
Maybe he will.
Why do you think Lance ain't responding? He busy? He cutting his yard?
He could be really busy.
He's probably chopping down the Cherokee tree.
He could be
Cherry tree in his yard?
Dave, you are being really cynical. He could be really busy right now.
Yeah, I'm just used to
And
calling.
by the way,
I'm just using calling a skunk.
I like
a
Lance.
skunk.
I like Lance a lot. I like Director Adcock a lot.
Yeah.
I have a lot of love and admiration for those two.
Okay, I don't.
Because I know they work really hard for our city.
Sure.
I don't know exactly what they
The
do
city
for
north,
our city, but
north of 630.
Dave, you can't say things like that.
Yes, I can. I just did. Yeah. Bums. Need to run them out of the office on a rail.
So insulting, Dave.
They're the problem. That whole board is the problem. It's too old. Some of y'all need to go. We'll be back in a moment. You're listening to Black Focus Radio. By the way, we did have an election yesterday. Congratulations to Denise Ennett.
Yeah, congratulations, Denise. Good
I
job.
guess. Don't know that's going to make a difference, but we'll see.
Jesus, Dave.
We'll be back in a moment.
Damn, Dave, we can't get people come on the show. You can't be saying stuff like that. Jesus.
We need leaders that want to lead. And what that means is you listen to the people. Okay?
Jesus, David.
We don't need people in office, and I'm not saying this person's one, but I don't know of anything that she's ever done in Little Rock. I could be wrong. I'm just saying. Let me shut up. Let me go and go to break before I say something. Talk about somebody's brother. Back in a moment.
Oh, God, thank you. How many we got today?
Can I talk to you for a moment? How many people have come up to you and said, hey, I didn't know you had a business? Yeah, that can happen when you don't have it.
We had up to 12 earlier.
You do me the thing on there?
What, the Black Focus?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I tried, I looked the other day trying to, it won't let me, well, I started looking and then I got sidetracked.
Okay.
But the part that I looked up, I couldn't find where I could make you an admin. I know you can make it on a group page, but not on a regular page, but I'll keep looking. I couldn't find it.
Okay.
Now is the
You update to see if it.
world. Hey, I'm in business. Come spend your money on quality.
Hey, it got worse.
Yeah, it did. I'll check it in a moment.
Here's the number. Call me 615-554-0568. We are here to assist you
Crazy.
in building your brand.
What's that?
Hi, I'm a trainer.
Yes, it is.
And I want to help you that. What is coming next? Bankruptcy?
I ain't got at my age.
I can be reached 501 501 Don't pay for legal.
Take your Bible.
I can't go there with a brother.
I'm just saying, take the word. That's how a lot of the brothers do it anyway.
I'm so glad I found the Kickabout. It's like my very own personal
Man, it's easy to man, it's to the point now where the churches and nightclubs now. Where you go, as long as you know the word, boy, you be getting as much as you want. Boy, you got no idea. I'm just saying, these churches, man, they just, you be shocked.
Guess who's on Joynet Radio?
The church I went to in Nashville, it was one of the largest in Nashville. And we had 5,000 members. And oh my
It's
God,
Kingdom, baby. Join us Monday through
every
Friday
Sunday,
at 5
it
a.m.
was a
Central
fashion
Standard
show.
Time. Remember, that's weekday
was-
mornings, 5 a.m. at Joynet Radio.
It was crazy, dude. You couldn't walk out of there with a number. You were gay. Dude, it was, and they were coming at you because it was men there, but it was, I guess they would take it. They would go out. New brother walk up in there. Dude, it was crazy. I got motel in that church.
Mitchell Funeral Home Arkadelphia.
Man,
7024611. Mitchell
I had one of them.
Quality you can appreciate, service you can depend on.
Come to my door
Answer to your aggravation.
and a meat stove.
The views and opinions expressed
And a
today
mink stove.
on Black Focus Radio are not the views and opinions of the station,
Did you want
its
to say
management, or
just a
its
mink stove?
advertisers. Now, let's get ready to focus on
through the
our
color.
issues, our
You gonna
solutions,
take some of
using
this
our voices on Black Focus Radio.
God, never. It was crazy, man. Hey, you know what? I did just spite, out of spite. No, baby, I ain't going out like that. So,
Central Arkansas,
but it was crazy, man.
and the nation. Get ready. Black Focus starts right now. Phone lines open at 855-525-56.
I'm telling you,
So
man,
here's your
drama.
host, David W. Coleman and Robert Webb.
All right, welcome back to the show. There are some words that you can type, and if you're not careful, Homeland Security will be on your front door. Robert, see if you can guess some of these words real fast.
I did. I don't believe there are any words you could type because you had one cat who went and did a shooting spree. He called the FBI and the police before he did it, and then he waited an hour, and then he went to start shooting, and he shot for an hour after he called the police and the FBI. So, Dave, I don't believe there's any words that can be used that would, that would actually be problematic. Do you?
According to the Homeland Security, they were forced to release a list of keywords used to monitor social networking.
Let's hear those words.
Man, there's a whole list.
They must not have to be used in sequence. They must
Dude, if you just use the word.
Which one, Dave?
Like police.
Really?
Okay.
Murder?
Drill.
Mass shooting.
Yep, that's on here. You've got cloud, plume, radiation. That's hazmat and nuclear. Leak, gas, burn.
So if you put that on your page, or what
Potentially, it flags you.
So hold on, Dave.
I ain't done yet.
Okay.
Outbreak, contamination. Now, I'm only giving one or two out of each category. So the first one was domestic security. The second one was hazmat and nuclear. This one is health concern and H1N1. I guess that's the virus. Here's another, public health. So check this out. We just had an interview with a public health official. We could potentially be flagged. Pork, swine, wave. So, hey, I'm waving at you. If you post that, potentially you could be flagged.
Wave?
Infrastructure security. Here's another category. Amtrak. What's the name of Little Rock's bus system?
Amtrak?
No, the bus system.
Oh, Rock Region?
Rock Region. Well, that's not on this list. But Amtrak.
Oh, you mean Greyhound? You talking about Greyhound?
No, just the
Rock
local
Region.
buses.
Okay.
Amtrak, BART, MARTA, Grid, Power, Body Scanner, Metro. Here's another category. Southwest border violence. This is the category. Violence, gang, drug, narcotics. You've been flagged a lot, dude, because you've been talking about a lot of drugs and stuff.
Yeah.
Gunfight. So potentially everybody in the hood, that's why they catching you brothers. Y'all ain't getting this. Okay?
You got some more?
Oh, there's plenty more. Terrorism. This is a category under terrorism. Target. Oh man, you can't go to Target anymore.
Nope.
You need to start calling it Target.
Jesus. So those are key words.
Yeah. Plot. Radical. Pirates. Another category. Weather disaster emergency. Hurricane, ice, typhoon, snow, blizzard. Aid, lightning, watch, warning. Last one on there is cybersecurity. Botnet, malware, virus. It's over, I would argue, there's over 500 words, categories that they look at when you are typing things on your social media that will flag you. Now, obviously, it doesn't mean that they're going to come after you, but here's one: symptoms. So you call somebody up, you type in it. They put up a picture, they're not feeling well, and you type in, "What's your symptoms?" You could get potentially flagged. That's just crazy, man. I just thought I'd throw that out there. I wanted to let you all know. You need to, again, stop putting all of your business on social media, number one. Okay?
Right.
Stop. Just stop it. It just doesn't make any sense.
Let me tell you what I'm confused about right now. The brother down in Texas who called the FBI.
I know.
And said, I'm about to go shoot up my job. And they was like, yeah, all right, man, go ahead. Holler back at us when you finish.
Yeah.
So then he calls the police because the FBI didn't believe him. He says, hey, I'm about to go shoot up my job.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I got a big gun. I'm fixed to go shoot up my job.
I'm finna.
Well,
he didn't say finna because had he said finna,
then
they didn't know he was black.
He said, pardon me, but I am about to go and do bodily harm to people at my office. And I would appreciate you guys sending down some assistance because I really, really, really don't want to hurt anyone. And the dispatcher replied to him, hey, boy, go on down there and do what you got to do, son. We'll see you when we pick you up.
But wasn't the lady, the 911 dispatcher who, did you hear about this story?
In Fort Smith?
No, the 911 dispatcher, was that Fort Smith?
When she told her, you stupid woman?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not laughing, but man, there are issues going on in Fort Smith, by the way. I mean, I guess the basketball coach, it used to be West Stark. What do they call it now?
It's called U of A Fort Smith.
Okay, so this senior apparently got kicked off the team because he had dreadlocks in his hair.
Yeah, man, hey, they giving you their money, man. You got to do what they say.
Mm-hmm. Well, the state of California just recently passed legislation saying you can't discriminate because of hair. And that's what it's real all. That goes back to where that wrestler had wrestled all year, and the official decided, and he had dreadlocks, the official decided to cut his hair at the beginning of a match. And I took that wrestling team to task along with the coach because they didn't stand up for their teammate.
Well, man, we still didn't call the coach at Georgia State and ask him why he kicked that quarterback off the team with the cocaine on his hood.
Well, it's kind of funny. They beat Tennessee this weekend.
Yeah, I wonder how he did.
You know what I'm saying? I'll pull up the stats. When you just said that, I just
yeah, because we supposed to call it. We never.
But that's interesting. That I just thought I'd bring that up because you all need to be aware of what y'all are posting.
You just said why would no? You don't have to worry about what you post. If you can call the police and still get the kill, and by the way, the average shooting, mass shooting, lasts about 6 minutes. Mm-hmm. This one lasted well over 20.
Yep.
And he called the police and the FBI, and they got target words now.
It's kind of like the guy in Florida. Remember the cop with the school shooting?
Yeah. He ain't going to the building.
He ain't going. When he said he got a big gun.
He was talking to his wife.
They were like, "No, man,
baby, I need to get off the phone. I need to go into this building." She was like, "No, hold on. Let me talk to you some more. Do you really need to go into the building? I need to tell you something that's really important. Are you gonna really go into the building?" "Yes, baby, I'm gonna go into the building." "You know Jacob is not yours, right? Now go ahead into the building. Love you." And the man just froze. He couldn't go into the building then.
Man, that was shocked.
Jacob's not mine. Who's Jacob's daddy?
That reminds me that you bring it up. I read an article and I didn't post it because I try not to post things that are from strange websites.
Okay.
But I started to. It was about a black guy who was raising money on GoFundMe to build a time machine to go back in time to kill the person who created child support. I'm not kidding.
I wouldn't give him money for that one. That's hilarious.
Check this out. Dude has raised $50,000 already.
Are you serious?
And he said, "I just need about 20 more and I can begin to start ordering parts."
Man,
I didn't post it because it was from one of those weird websites, but I was like,
he has been watching too much. What is that?
He said if it wasn't for his baby mama and them babies, he'd be a rich man today. If it wasn't for you,
wait. What's it? You watch the show where they go back in time to try to kill his guy. I can't think of the name of the show, man. You know what I'm talking about? Mm-mm. It's the show is good, but it's also hilarious. Mm-hmm. It's like it's a great history show, but I can't think of the name of it.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Where they get the time.
It's called Time Machine, isn't it?
Is that what it's called? I don't think so.
I believe so.
I'm not sure.
But anyway, I just thought that when you said that about fathers, that I remember reading that this morning.
That was hilarious. I like that. I like that.
He's gonna go back in time.
But that man would have went into that building had she not told him about Joshua. If she not told him that Joshua wasn't his, he would have went in there and got that gun.
Hey, there's been a whole lot of men got their hearts broke on Maury.
Yeah, he told him that Joshua wasn't his, man. Just broke him down to his knee pads, brother.
So, there's been 4 mass shootings in Texas. And of course, and part of the reason I said that guy sounded like a Republican is because that's what they sound like, Lance Hines, is that they to give you a classic example of this, the Republicans in Congress was all about the deficit when there were Democratic presidents in office. Mm-hmm. Now that Trump, I think he has added $4.1 trillion to this current deficit. You don't have a peep out of them. Mm-hmm. None whatsoever, So Ted Cruz had the nerve to come at Chicago about the gun violence. And Lori Lightfoot, love her name, by the way, who is the new mayor, black woman. I mean, she cut him down. Dude. So let me just read to you what Ted Cruz says, because actually it was hilarious. Gun control doesn't work. Look at Chicago. Disarming law-abiding citizens isn't the answer. Stop violent criminals, prosecuting and getting them off the street before they commit more violent crimes is the most effective way to reduce murder rates. Let's protect the citizens. Okay? Because every time a gun issue comes up, Republicans, particularly the white Republicans, want to talk about Chicago. Mm-hmm. All right? Here's what Lori Lightfoot said, the mayor of Chicago. 60% of illegal firearms recovered in Chicago come from outside Illinois, mostly from states dominated by cowardly Republicans like you who refuse to enact common sense gun legislation. Keep our name out of your mouth. Slap! And she makes an excellent point because, for instance, Chicago has some of the toughest gun laws. I mean, Illinois has some of the toughest gun laws in America.
Yeah.
So the guy who did the shooting, he had already failed a background check. Okay? So, but he was still able to acquire an AR-15. In all likelihood, he probably went to one of these gun shows. In fact, I saw a sign the other day where there's a gun show coming to Little Rock. You don't have to do background checks there. But in Indiana, and see, this is the point here, 21% of the illegal guns that are recovered in Chicago, and I would love to see all of the states. This is huge. I would love to see Arkansas.
Right.
I would think Little Rock officials, and this is why I'm highlighting this, I would think Little Rock officials would be concerned about this very thing. Where are those guns coming from? Now, I know it doesn't have the gun laws the way Illinois does,
right.
but it makes it gives you a picture of how this problem is continuing to happen in Chicago. So Indiana, 21% of the guns that are recovered in Chicago is from Indiana. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Why is that?
Now, let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Who was the governor of Indiana?
Mike Pence.
There you go.
So you telling me they have more lenient laws than anybody else?
Apparently so.
All I know is that people tell you that when you go buy guns from gun shows, they do background checks.
No, they don't. They don't have to.
Exactly. So I bought a ton of guns from those gun shows, and they never one time asked me to fill out the paperwork.
No.
I just buy the gun and walk the hell out. That's
Now,
it.
some of them will try, but the majority of them, all you got to do is throw them dead presidents
I have
up.
never, ever done a. Now, if I go to what's the place out here, and out here in the in the Southwest, Bass Pro.
Okay.
Bass Pro, yeah.
Yep.
I even bought a couple of guns from pawn shops. Even those guns I bought from pawn shops, they did the background check. The first time I went to a gun show, I didn't buy anything, right? The second time I went to a gun show, I went to a gun show in Texarkana, Texas. They never one time asked me for my social security number, asked me nothing. They sold me the gun, I walked out. That was it. I even tried to get the guy to knock $100 off. He said, I tell you what, man, if you buy another gun, I'll knock $100 off. So I bought another gun. Right? But that's my point, man.
I know. And therein lies the problem.
And I did that because I was thinking he was going to ask me for a background check, right? And so, never did.
Wow.
Never did. And I remember, and I'm going to tell you something really interesting. I think at one point I had bought like 6 guns in like 5 months. But usually I do the background check and just breezes through it, right? It's like, sweet, let him go, turn him loose, he's good to go. So I had bought, I think between January and April of 2017 or 2018, one of them, I had bought like 4 or 5 guns, right? Well, the next time I went to get a gun, guess what happened?
They flagged him.
They flagged him. Said, nah, dog. Pull up, homie. You gotta wait the mandatory whatever the days were. I had to wait like almost. I had to wait like 24 hours, something like that.
So they went and checked you out.
Yeah.
But again, I mean, that's a good thing, don't you think? Now,
Well,
if you have someone that already has guns and they go, but see, here's my problem
The
with this
thing
whole
is,
thing.
if I can go to a gun show and purchase a gun without a background check,
Right.
man, none of this means anything.
Exactly.
Because everybody likes to have the conversation about guns, and I think to some degree the conversation is warranted, right? But I think we need to talk about the other issues that come into play that we have yet to discuss, because so often we like to talk about the symptom, right? We want to talk about the symptom, but we never really want to talk about I shouldn't say the symptom. We never really want to talk about what the real symptom is. We want to talk about the other symptoms, right? Well, the gun is the problem. Background checks is the problem. No. Something has to be wrong with you mentally to walk into a place that you know no one and just start firing on people. That same people just don't do that, right?
At least same black people.
Same black people don't. So if that's the case, but we did have it was 8 blacks last time, 7 or 8 blacks. So if that's happening, then yeah, mental illness is a thing we need to address. Now, as a Second Amendment lover, I don't want you bothering me and my guns. I really don't. I get uncomfortable.
But again, they're not trying to bother you.
Yeah,
and
they
your
are.
gun. No, they're not, Robert. That's the biggest misconception about this.
No
one is trying. Now there are.
Well, hold on, Dave. I just told you I went and bought 4 guns,
Right.
4 or 5 guns in a 4-month period.
Okay.
And every other time I breezed through.
Okay.
Easy breezy.
Right.
But then this last time, I'm like, really?
But again, don't you? What's the difference in stopping you one time and saying, "Hey, we just checking"?
Well,
what's the difference in that?
What's problematic with that is that the guys and people who are doing these shootings, they ain't buying guns legally.
Oh, I understand that. That's what.
So we're not even addressing that.
Well, that's why the thing about the gun shows that has to be addressed.
Dylan Roth's father owned the gun he used to kill the people.
I agree with that.
In the church.
So
right? Any other time.
So why isn't Dylan Roth's father being held accountable for that gun?
You have to ask somebody who's.
But again, so here's my point.
Okay.
You have Ryan. Let's say Ryan was, how old is Ryan now? 15. Let's say no, he's not able to drive yet, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So Ryan steals your truck.
Yep.
And goes out, crashes it.
Yep.
Kills somebody.
Yep.
Who's responsible?
I will be.
That's my point.
Well, Dylan Roth was how old when he did this?
I understand that.
What I'm saying, was he like 16?
Right. But what I'm
16,
saying,
17?
right? I think I don't know.
He wasn't that old.
He wasn't that old. But here's my point in saying that is that there's still nobody wants to take your guns. The same people, they respect the Second Amendment as I do. I just think there needs to be some checks and balances. If it's one more hoop you got to jump through to get a gun, that should be okay. If you're worrying about having to jump through a hoop to get a gun, look, you got to get a license to drive. You got to get a license to practice as a doctor. Why is it that I can buy a gun and my son can be 10 years old and I can give him a gun? That makes no sense. I mean, there should be some type of responsibility on the gun owner. Now, again, you can't stop illegal guns, but you can impress upon those manufacturers that you can. Because I thought about this yesterday, Robin. This is why I brought this up. So, Oklahoma just sued Johnson & Johnson and got a judgment for $572. Right? Remember that story last week?
Yeah.
They sued them for $17 billion. Purdue Pharma, who only makes OxyContin, who was the main beneficiary of those pills, is offering a $12 billion settlement if y'all just go away. And if you don't go away, then we're going to claim bankruptcy. What's the difference in Purdue Pharma pushing OxyContin into communities where they can be sued as opposed to gun manufacturers doing the same thing? Because what's the end result on both of these? But this came to me like a ton of bricks yesterday. I know I was driving and it just hit me. What's the difference? Because OxyContin killed many, infected others, addicted others. Guns are doing the same thing. So if those corporations can be sued, in fact, they would love to have the anonymity that the gun lobby has. So there needs to be some checks and balances. I don't think you should be able to leave a gun to your 12-year-old kid. I don't care if you do live on the farm. I don't care if he does hunt rabbits with it. He's just shooting rabbits. I just don't think you should be able to do that. I think if you're on a farm, that's one thing. But either way, whomever purchased that gun should be responsible for that gun.
He should be complicit, yeah.
That's all I'm saying. So you're a responsible gun owner. I'm a responsible gun owner. The majority of us are. But that guy that did that shooting that called the FBI, the background checks didn't work because he was able to circumvent the system. He probably went to a gun show. Those are little loopholes that need to be stopped.
Okay, so he was 21 when he did the shooting.
Okay, that's what I was thinking.
However,
again, whose gun was it?
Well, yeah, but not that. When people say that when you commit a crime, Dave, if I go out here and I kill somebody and you sit in the car while I do it, guess what, Dave? You're
I'm
also
complicit.
on the hook. Yeah, you're complicit. You're also on the hook for
Right.
murder. However, Dylan Roof goes in there with his father's gun. It's not in his name. That gun is registered to his father, but his father doesn't receive any charges. I think if you want these kind of things to stop, that's what you do.
You know what? I'm glad you said that because that's what I've been saying for a long
Because
time.
I guarantee your black butt that if that was your son,
I'd be
I'd
be hung up.
You'd be locked up.
Exactly. And I'm glad you said that because that's been my other point. Is that let's say you have a gun, you buy a gun legally, which millions of Americans do all the time. All right? And your child takes that gun because it's not secured. And I hear this stupid argument, well, I need my gun out because I might get robbed. Really? Really? Somebody might come at my house. So when you at work, where your gun at? Is it under your mattress? It's apparently unsecured because your kid can now go and get that gun and take it to school or show it to his friends. How many times, we haven't heard any lately, but how many times have we heard stories of kids playing with guns and one by one got shot? In fact, it seemed like I remember a story of a kid who was playing with a gun and shot and killed his sister.
Yeah.
Okay, so that person who bought that gun has got to be responsible for that gun because it is a weapon. It can kill. This is not like giving your kid a PlayStation.
It's no different than these kids who go into these schools and they shoot up these schools. These kids are underage.
Where they get the guns from?
They get the guns from home.
Exactly.
But there is never, ever one time that they said we're going to charge the parent.
And therein lies the problem because you're right.
Because I guarantee you, well, let me take that back. In California, I don't know if you remember when the Hispanic kid, they were talking about they need to charge the parent. But they don't say that when there's a blue-eyed, blonde-haired white boy that does it. They don't say that, and that disappoints me because it should be fair on both sides. If a white kid does it, or a black kid, or a Hispanic kid, then the parent should be charged.
Right.
It doesn't matter because that's crazy.
Well, and that's the point, and I think that's what people want. Nobody is, this argument that Republicans jump off the ledge.
Nobody has ever had that conversation, Dave.
Well,
I have never watched.
I agree with
seen
you.
it on MSNBC, CNN, or Fox.
I agree.
Anybody says, hey,
but
if we want this to stop, we need to charge these parents.
Well, I agree with that, but the most important thing is that Republicans jump off a ledge saying they're trying to take your guns. That's a lie. They're not trying to take. They're trying to get common sense approach to guns. Guns, you know what? I heard a statistic last night, and I believe it was from Cory Booker. He was on one of. Did you know? Well, it counts because I've heard the statistic.
I would
before.
never reference anything Cory Booker said.
Well, I've heard the statistic before.
I can't believe you're doing it either.
I've heard.
After today, I'm not talking to you.
I've heard the statistic
After
before.
today, I'm not talking to you no more.
It's not his statistic, Robert.
I don't care. But
Did you know that there have been more Americans killed by gun violence by Americans than all of the wars that we ever fought? That's mind-boggling, dude. That's mind-boggling.
I'm not surprised.
Think about this. Remember when you're old enough to remember the when they first started the Tylenol scare? You remember that?
Yeah.
And out of that came wrapping up all of this stuff in paper so it wouldn't be tamper-proof bottles. When I package my product, it's tamper-proof. So if that label is torn off that lid, not to buy it. And then even if you open my lids, there's still another tamper-proof seal in there. So if that seal is removed, not to buy it or if it's damaged. So Tylenol had to go through all of these flips to fix their product. And along with that came other legislation that had to be done. Because here was a product that was adversely affecting Americans. Why isn't that the same with gun legislation? All of this murder and mayhem.
The same reason Catholic priests.
Yeah,
The same reason Catholic priests don't get arrested. Same reason.
Latanya, no, I don't think that there should be a limit on how many guns people can buy.
No.
There should not be a limit.
No.
Long as you get them legally, if you want to stockpile them, that's your business. Okay? That's just how I feel about it. I don't have a problem with you having, if you got 50 guns, good for you. Long as they're legal.
But when the purge comes,
say hello to my little friend.
Hello to my little friends, not friend. When the purge come, I'm ready.
But I think there just needs to be some common sense here. And I love what Mayor Lightfoot said, because, the problem being visited upon Chicago, and it's so check this out. 5% of them come from Mississippi, 4% from Wisconsin, 2.9 from Ohio, 2.5 from Kentucky, 2.3 from Georgia, 2.2 from Tennessee, 1.9 from Alabama, and 1.8 from Texas. So Indiana is at 21%. I mean, it's 4 times the amount of the next closest state. But when you calculate all that, 60% of those I would be curious, and I was looking in this article to see if there was a reference to the chart that she posted, because I'm curious about Arkansas. Because maybe if we could stop some of the illegal guns that's coming into the city, maybe just then, maybe we can limit some of the violence. At least that could be part of it, but I don't know. What do I know?
How do you plan to stop the guns from coming in?
Well, first of all, you got to know where they're coming from.
We know where they're coming from. They're coming from the NRA.
Well, and that reminds me as well.
They're coming from these gun companies.
I know.
We know where they're coming from.
I know. I have spoke with gang members, and there have been stories about this as well, where they say white dudes roll up into the hood, pop the trunk, and you can have any type of weapon you want if you got the money. I know that. I've heard people say that. So anyway, so I just think it's an interesting argument. I really do. Oh, by the way, I meant to talk about this when we were talking about racism earlier. Dallas police are preparing as if Amber Geiger will be acquitted for killing Botham Jean.
Oh yeah, of course. Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they?
Is there something they know that the public doesn't?
They do. They know something.
That's what I'm reading into this.
They know something.
That's what because again.
Did they get a change of venue?
No, they asked for one.
Okay, they didn't get it.
Okay. But again, how you gonna acquit this woman and she walks into a man's house and shoots him dead?
Easy. Easy. They do it all the time. Dude, now I don't know if you remember or not, but they had video of Rodney King being beat the hell up. I mean, just beat like a dog, Dave. They had the video, Dave, and them folks voted not guilty. They voted not guilty, Dave.
Well,
they voted not guilty, Dave.
They better get ready and
The girl in Oklahoma, Dave.
I know.
The girl in Oklahoma shot dead this man.
I know.
And he had his
Terrence
back
Crutcher.
turned to her.
Terrence Crutcher.
Not only that, Mr. Ellison right here in Little Rock.
Terrence Crutcher was the magical Negro. He was actually reaching in his vehicle through a closed window.
Yes, I meant to tell you, Dave, he is Terry the Invisible Man.
There you go. You know, he was reached through a closed window, but yeah.
You know what? I always tell people, do not stop reaching through windows and letting white people know about our superpowers. I say that all the time, man. But let me tell y'all now, stop doing this stuff and showing people our superpowers. That's why they shooting us. They see our superpower.
Tanya said they're going to make it like they were lovers.
Yeah, of course they are.
Oh, we heard that from someone else, didn't we?
Where'd that come from, right?
Woo! So, but
somebody dropped the T.
Yep. I'm just saying but we had postulated that early on anyway.
Yeah, that didn't make sense.
It did. This crime doesn't make sense.
The door was open.
The door was open. We've seen multiple videos of the fact that the door they don't stay open. They automatically close. I mean, but again, they're preparing. And look, you're right. They need to prepare because if she does get off, I'm just gonna ask a question. What y'all gonna do about it? What are y'all gonna do about it? Y'all gonna get mad? You know, by the way, we got something going on right in Little Rock. Charles Starks he's gonna get off.
He won't get off with the commission. I think he'll probably get off when he goes to circuit court though.
The commission is gonna vote to give him his job back.
I don't think so. I don't think they'll give it back to him. I honestly don't think they will. I would be surprised if they do. I would really be surprised if they give him his job back. I would really be surprised. Don't look at me with the stank eye. I would really be surprised if they give him his job back.
Man, the fix is in. I was listening to part of that this morning. And I don't know the officer that was on the stand. But he was reading from, I guess, an account. And it said that he said that you could clearly see that the vehicle hit Officer Starks with the side panel. And that's when Officer Starks started shooting. Not the video I saw, but, you know, I know they got them special tools. But I'm just preparing people that this man, Charles Starks, is going to get his job back. I don't want that to happen, but it's going to happen. I'm just saying. All right. 855-525-5683 is the number. We talked about Denise Ennett beating Daryl Stevens. Barely 1,000 votes was cast. Barely. 583 to 426. So I guess that's what, 1,009 votes? Mm-hmm. There you go. If you want to change the system, you got to become part of the system. You got to get in the system. Okay? Not voting is not one of those issues. That's part of the reason we get nothing. Because y'all don't take your butts to the polls. But you complain. You attack your advocates. What else was I going to... let's talk a little bit. We had the... one other thing. Eddie Levert scolds black folks over Popeye chicken sandwich frenzy. You're making a mockery of who we are. Y'all gonna go after Eddie Levert?
My man.
Y'all gonna go after the OJ?
My man.
Huh? He's right. Y'all get mad all you want. I agree with Eddie Levert. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the sheriff yesterday. Not the sheriff, but the Chief Humphrey. I will say that I like Chief Humphrey. He was candid. Certainly he and Rozelle got into it a little bit. They went back and forth. But overall, and unfortunately after the show, we stood around here for almost 40 minutes talking to Chief. And I'm going to tell you like this. Chief Humphrey is a real brother. I got that impression. If you didn't get that impression when that Ted for Ted was going with him and Rozelle, you missed something. You know, it was good radio, but I think you got an insight on the type of person this guy is. And I think he realizes he's in a mess. I didn't ask him, but I think that he may not have known what he was biting off when he came here. I don't know that to be true, but some of the things when he talked about the narcotic squad,
Right.
you know, and making those changes, and how the FOP is pushing back against him.
Right.
And I just got a feeling that he didn't realize that this was that big of a mess.
Well, you know, what I like about the guy is that that was huge. So in narcotics, you had people who have been in narcotics for 25 years.
Exactly.
And so you know how much corruption you have in narcotics, right? But for me, man, what was really cool about that was that what was really cool about that for me, man, is that this cat actually did it, though, right? I mean, that took some balls just to do that. I mean, so I think it's important that people understand why I think what he did was huge. So you had these same guys in narcotics who were doing these no-knock warrants. But you say, oh, hell no. Y'all gotta go. And whoever he puts there, he gives them the directive, no more damn no-knock warrants, okay?
Exactly.
You with me? I mean, that alone, if he don't do nothing else, if he does nothing else, that right there was huge. If the brother don't do nothing else the whole time he here, that one move right there, in my opinion, was huge. Right? Because that impacted a lot of folks. That was significant. I like that. I really like that. Now, did I like the conversation he gave us yesterday? I sure in the hell did not. I was not comfortable with this conversation at all. There was some things Rizal called him on that I thought he should have been more prepared to answer. And I wanted some different answers myself.
And the other
but he
thing,
didn't give it to
right?
us.
And I was planning, but they were going, and I just wanted to let it go. But I was planning to ask him, why is it that other municipalities around the country, even as close as Jacksonville, Arkansas, has decided not to make marijuana arrest a priority? And doesn't it take away from your manpower if someone smells weed and they go out of their way to arrest or try to arrest the guy who's smoking weed, and that guy has a marijuana pass? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and I wanted to ask that question, but I got so enthralled in what was going on with him and Rizal, I just kind of sat back. But that's what was illogical to me. That's what is illogical to me. Because if I wanted to, I could go and get one of those passes. Okay. You know, I've got major back problems. I could go get one of those passes. So if I'm sitting in a park smoking a joint because I may have been walking and I'm having a problem, just like if I would take a pill, you know, a pain pill, and these cops run up on me, strong arm me, doesn't it make sense to not even pay attention to that? You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get it.
It makes no... The argument that they're making, the police is making, is illogical.
Well, I think for me, I've read an email where Chief Humphrey said that they're not doing that now. So if they're not doing it now, then what's the problem with them having an ordinance that says that you're not doing it?
Right.
I mean, I don't understand that.
And the other thing I thought you all made a very valid point on is about going to court. And I'm hoping he's going to be true to his word.
I believe he will, man. Dude, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you this. This is what I like about it. This is honestly what I like about it. Unlike Buck, man. And even to some degree, unlike Stuart Thomas. Russ, Ian, and myself, we met with him, right? Mm-hmm. We had a sit down with him. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I only planned to be there an hour, man. I didn't plan to be there 2 hours. Mm-hmm. This guy, he listened, but he also wanted to tell us about some of the things that he was trying to implement from within the police department to make it better. Mm-hmm. Now, I ain't gonna say I agree with all of it,
and you're not.
And we're never gonna always agree. But the thing I most appreciate is that the brother was willing to sit down and talk, right? Now, whether he take any ideas we gave him and do anything with them, probably not. But he at least heard us out. I can't get mad at that. I can't be pissed at you because you heard me. You allowed me to tell you what I thought, right? Now, when you don't implement and you don't do something else, then yeah, I'm gonna get at you. But the thing is that you at least had the conversation. And for me, considering who just left, that's huge.
Right. Well, and I look, the conversation we had after the show, it did wonders for my thought process with him.
Yeah, I think he's a good cat.
Because I do too. I think he's a good man. I think
who he reminds me of?
Who?
Will.
You're exactly
Willie
right.
Davis. That's who he reminds me
I think he's a good man. He realizes he's in a tough job, and look, at the end of the day, he's not gonna please everybody. At the end of the look, we don't please everybody on this show.
No.
And I don't expect to.
Yeah, you're not gonna make
so, but I think his candor, his openness, I think that was really key for me developing another type of attitude about him as a whole. And as I said earlier, I was for him getting the job, and apparently I was clairvoyant because guess what? He did. If he had not gotten that job, just the one thing about the no-knock warrants, that was an inbred culture in the Little Rock Police Department.
Yeah.
Those guys have been there for 25 years. They were running their own little fiefdoms.
Yeah. But that's the point about them being there so long. They knew the ins and outs to make those no-knock warrants happen.
Exactly. Yeah. So the fact that he would reach in and change that and the many other things that he described to us, I think he's trying to do the right thing. And it validates that this is why we needed someone from the outside to come in. Because
some fresh eyes.
Right.
I didn't agree with fresh eyes. And I'll have to admit, I did not agree with fresh eyes. I did not want Hayward. But before, when they brought in Buckner, I really wanted Eric Higgins. And we didn't get Eric. But I think now we got maybe Eric Light, maybe.
Right, but think about it. We got Eric Higgins as the sheriff. When was the last time we had a black sheriff?
Never.
And a black police chief?
Never.
Because I've been gone, so that just hit me.
And a black man.
And a black mayor.
And a black circuit clerk.
That just hit me.
And I don't know what else.
But the point is that you got, in my opinion, I think you got two class individuals. Because I've heard stories about what Eric Higgins is doing about, some of the stupid things that they're sending over at the county.
Yeah, but the only thing is he's having a real hard time because for whatever reason, the county has very little money, and the money they do have, I think the whole process of the county is kind of antiquated because the county doesn't spend money inside the city of Little Rock.
Right.
They spend money in the outlying areas, right? Well, if you're gonna do that, you gotta think about it. So you got cities like Riceville, Sweet Home.
Latanya said, and the city manager.
And the city manager.
I don't know the city manager was black.
You got the city. I mean, now you got me saying city manager. You got cities like Riceville, Hensley, Sweet Home. East End, you got all these outlying areas, right, that don't have a strong enough economy to get turnback money from the county. You with me? So when they're getting this turnback money, the money is just barely enough to keep the city afloat. And by that I mean it's enough to pay if they have a police force, if they have a fire force, if they have a mayor, if they have a board, or whatever the makeup of that government is. It's just enough money to take care of them. There's no extra funds to do street repairs or any of that. So the county doesn't actually do anything inside the city limits. Now, what's unfortunate about that is that we all have representatives who sit on the county from our neighborhoods, right? And I think at some point, if we're really going to be able to implement some of the things that Sheriff Higgins wants to implement, we're going to have to raise the county tax just a little bit, just to give them money to implement some of the things they need to implement and to do some things, partner up with with local governments like Little Rock, North Little Rock, Maumelle, East End, to do projects that improve streets and that kind of thing.
Well, I just think it's, I enjoyed the conversation with him yesterday.
Yeah, it was huge.
Looking forward to getting him back, talking some more. I like I said, I got the impression that he knows there's some problems, some huge problems. Now I'm not going to divulge our conversation after the show.
Right, but it was obvious that the brother knows there's some problems and he ready to go.
Yeah.
He said, "Hey man, I'm only going to do 4, maybe 5.
You're right.
I'm about this piece because he made a point to tell us, Chiefs don't stick around long.
Exactly.
They just do about 5 to 7 years. You know that, right? Until they can find another job.
Exactly. So maybe there is a change in the wind. I guess the only way we can see. But again, I hope that he will take you all's advice because here's the one thing that I was going to challenge him on, but I had asked my question, so I just kind of let you all go. But he made the point about, was it Lawton, Oklahoma, that was 70% black?
Norman.
Was it Norman? I thought it was Lawton.
No, he was the police chief in Norman.
No, but he was talking about, it was another city.
Lancaster.
Lancaster. And he made the point that, it makes sense that when you go to court, you're going to see traffic violations. 70% of those people, or the majority of those people, are going to be black. And statistically speaking, that makes sense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when you look at Little Rock is still predominantly white. The percentages don't bear out based on my understanding of the people who are getting tickets.
I don't disagree, but for me, what's even more concerning is that.
That's why I hope he takes your advice.
I hope he goes.
Go to traffic court and just watch. Just sit there.
But I don't want. That's why I said yesterday, because I wanted to make it clear to folks that just ain't traffic court.
Right.
That's also environmental court.
Right.
You go to
which he doesn't have anything to do with that.
He doesn't have anything to do with that one. But you go to either one of those, and pretty much you see the same. Those rooms resemble each other. You could change. You could transform. You could like flip them around, and they look the same.
So you mean Lil Pookie could be over there with Big Pookie?
Pretty much, yeah. It don't change.
Well, I hope he takes your advice because I think, and I don't know if any other police chief has ever done that, but that would be an interesting field trip.
Well, I didn't want to say this while he was here, and I'm going to say it now. I didn't want to say while he's here. 2 reasons I didn't want to say it. For one, I had not checked my facts to make sure. A couple of years ago, I FOI'd all the people who went through traffic court and all the people who got tickets, right? And so what you find is that you don't have a ton of white people getting tickets. You just don't have it. It just didn't happen, right?
To the point that I just made.
For every, I think the number was for every 3 blacks, 1 white person got a ticket. I think so. I'm not exactly sure, but if you go to traffic court, that bears out. I mean, you see that in traffic court because, like I said, you got maybe 10 rows in there, and they're probably 12 rows deep, and you probably got 100. You probably got 100 people in there black, and you probably got you got some other races in there. But the majority of the people who are in traffic court are black.
Not surprising, and I hope he takes your advice on that. We about to wrap up the show. One other quick point, kind of back to the juxtaposing this article with the gun issue that we were talking about earlier. Alex Jones loses another legal battle in the Sandy Hook defamation case. And if you're not familiar with this, Alex Jones ran a website that was very popular, made millions of dollars, and one of the things that he propagated. And by the way, he even when Rick Ross came out, he actually had Rick Ross on his show. But one of the things that he propagated was the fact that Sandy Hook was a farce. It was a lie. Those kids were never killed. Okay? This is Alex Jones. The parents of Sandy Hook, and I think that's the name of the organization, sued him. He's now lost his website. He's in millions and millions of dollars in legal hell right now. Now, what's the point in bringing up this story? The point is that Alex Jones And I'm saying this from a media perspective. Although we have the right to say, and I tell this to people all the time, you have a First Amendment right to say what you want to say. But be aware that you have to be responsible for what you say. Okay? The gun issue should be the same. If I own a gun, that's my Second Amendment right. If I've got to be responsible for the words that I say in my First Amendment right, why must I not be responsible for things that go on for my Second Amendment?
Are you saying that Alex is black?
No, Alex is white.
Really?
But
you talk as though he's black, though. That's a reference you make to the First Amendment and the Second Amendment. That's a reference you make to a black man. That's not a reference often made to a white man.
I know.
I'm surprised by that. What happened?
Well, I'm just simply saying we have to have, with your rights come responsibilities.
I totally agree.
Okay? You cannot go into a movie theater and scream fire. You just cannot do that. You don't have you have a First Amendment right to do that.
But he didn't do that. He didn't do that.
He didn't have to.
He just said that he didn't believe those kids were killed.
Oh, but you have, what was going on here is that he even had, I mean, this guy had millions of hits on his website to the point where he had conspiracy theorists coming on saying the same thing, people attacking these families, going after these families, all because of the things that he was doing on his show. I'm just simply saying.
But wait a second, though. Wait a second. Hold on. We're gonna have to carry this on tomorrow.
Okay.
Because all the stuff that's been done to black folks.
I know.
And we've never had nothing like that happen. But okay.
I know. But again, just quickly, when the Klan went dormant, you know why they went dormant?
No.
Because they were being sued
Wow.
by civil rights organizations, victims, you name it. They've lost Tom Metzger, who was the lead dog back in the 70s and 80s. That's why you don't hear about him anymore. They sued his pants off. And that's how you fight.
Is the Klan an LLC now?
That's how you fight the Klan.
Are they LLC now?
Some of them are. Some of them are even non-profits.
Really?
Yeah. Some of them up in Harrison, they wanted to adopt one of the highways. All right, we got to get out of here, man. Y'all, Robert.
Hey, spend money on the community. If you don't, nobody else will. Peace.
Brilliant minds discuss ideas. Average minds discuss events. And small minds discuss people. Which do you possess? Y'all have a great day.
Let me know when she calls.
You've been listening to Black
So is she going to call today?
I hope so.
Okay.
She called me early, but I didn't talk to her.
Okay. Well, I'm waiting because I definitely want to get these spots ready because we had a short week, so tomorrow's Thursday. There was something else I was going to tell you. But my little flyover is so smooth. Have you seen this? My logo flyover?